So it's officially been a whole year since I started my 4-month-long Cockpit 2.0 sim rig build. And I know it sounds ridiculous that it took a whole year for a 4-month project, but this thing has been a lot more detailed and come out a lot better than I ever imagined it was going to, and it's so close to being done, apart from the fact that everything's torn off the rig right now. So I had some painting and cable management to do anyways, and I figured since I was going to strip the whole rig down, why not celebrate the 1 year by making one single video showing how the whole thing's assembled. So for those who haven't been following along with the build, you're about to see just how immersive a sim rig can get, and for those of you that have been around, you'll notice a few improvements along the way. So let's light up the race room and get to work. Light. There we go. So we're going to jump right into this, starting with the center console because it's probably the most difficult to install because it actually holds the shifter on it, so it needs to be super firm. As you guys can see, I used aluminum profile. This is 2020 profile, two 1220 millimeters running long ways, and then 150 millimeters in between, both to hold the frame together and also to give me a mounting point for the shifter. Everything else is 3D printed from files that I share. It's got a functional little storage compartment on the back, and there's a top to it that will get put on after we get everything else installed. Now, I've never tried to install this with as much as there actually is on it right now. So this could get a little interesting, but I'm hoping that it'll go fairly smooth. Just need to be able to get it to hook right onto the two grab points right here. Hopefully with any luck that'll stay in place just long enough for me to get it all tightened up. This bracket up front's kind of a bit of a supporting piece. It's not really all that reliable. There's a lot of other parts of this that support it a lot better than this bracket will. But once the bracket's in, should be in pretty good shape. Alright, so that 3D printed bracket, not the most stable thing, but it should help hold it in place while I get everything else sorted out for this. Because realistically, it's a little twisted, probably needs to be tightened up a little bit. So to save a little time in this video, I went ahead and installed the brackets down below. I'm just finishing tightening the last one. And I've got 3 brackets down here. I've got one over here on the far left, one right here that's probably blending in with the seat quite a bit, and I've got a third one right here. And if you guys remember how wobbly it was a few seconds ago, now it's pretty stable. Once I put the passenger side in, there's 2 mounts that go on this side, and that'll completely lock in place and it's not going to move. Now let's talk about getting that dashboard put in so we can finish up the center console. Now if you guys aren't familiar with the dashboard, this is another 3D print file that I designed that I share with TWE Premium members here on YouTube. As you can see down on the bottom, I used some suede to cover up the bottom, and then I used a forged carbon hydro dip over the top just to make it look a little more authentic and blend in with the rig. It does have a fully functional vent fan and an LED backlit start button down below it. Over on this side, I've got a 992.2 style button box with a fully functional brake bias knob. Then on top, I've got the Apex Sim Racing flag, and we'll put the lap timer back on later. Before we get to work installing the dashboard, I want to take a second to talk about all the hardware on the rig because it's seen a lot of change over the last year. The foundation of the sim rig is the Sawbelt S99 cockpit. I've also got the Sawbelt triple monitor mount and PC deck, and an authentic Sawbelt GT pad seat. And my triple screen setup consists of 3 32-inch Asus VQ1B monitors. For the wheelbase, I use an Asetek Forte with the shaft extension and Asetek Invicta pedals. And I'm currently using the Fanatec Club Sport for a shifter. And for the wheel, there was only one option, the VPG 911 Cup. And of course, I've got a butt kicker under the seat. Now the process for installing the dash is actually pretty easy, but first, we just gotta take the wheel off. Now I designed this dash to be super easy to put on and take off because I anticipated swapping it out more, but then this build kind of got away from me and got a little crazy, so it doesn't really happen. And to put it on, it really just slides in place, and with all the pressure of everything, it'll just sit right there. Then we can slide the wheel back on, plug in the button box, and swap the desktop over so it goes back to feeling like Cockpit 2.0. Now with the dash in, we can continue on the center console, and this whole section just snaps in place. It's got little clips on the bottom. I designed little clip rails inside of here, so they just snap right in place. Haven't really shared this part yet, but this is the button box I'm working on for the top of the center console. And basically I haven't given it any internals yet, but it does have the buttons And it's basically just chilling up here until I finish designing the rest of it. And it pops right in place there. Got the frame for the shifter. Test the shifter to make sure the gears work. And pop in the drink holder. Which actually might have to come before the shifter now that I'm thinking about it. Still haven't glued that GT3 RS in there. And there we go, center console's in. For the mid-console control box, you guys can see there's a little mounting bracket right here. And this guy just slides right in place. Super easy to install. So now that we got those parts out of the way, let's install the roof and the roll cage. Now for those of you that weren't around for the first go round, this roof is designed using 2-inch insulation foam. Man, that's hard to say. And basically what I did was carved out one piece, added some bumpers around the edges. I wrapped the top in vinyl, and you can see my ambient light system right on top here. And then on the underside, I wrapped it in suede. The trim around the edges is all 3D printed. And underneath here, I've got my GoPro, my Stream Deck, and a 6-inch Vocore screen. Now for the roll cage, I used a combination of 3D printed parts and some PVC. So the entire side impact bar you could see here is completely 3D printed. There's no PVC on this part. And for those of you guys that have seen it before, you guys will notice got a nice paint job. Then for the main part of the cage, there's 3D printed parts connecting all the PVC together. So it's a combination of both. Then I've got 2 PVC uprights that give me somewhere to mount the nets and hold my roof up. So for right now, the roof just sits on top of the monitors and it's supported by the roll cage. So to get it put on, we just need to pop the roll cage in place. And at some point, I'm going to reprint the brackets that help mount it and keep it stable. But for right now, it's just going to sit on there and it's been doing just fine like that. I have to say, it's gotten a little harder to put that thing on over the last year. The PVC doesn't hold in place quite as well as it used to. So now the support bars will just pop right in here. Take everybody's favorite USB cable out of the way. And the roof is installed. So now that we've got the roof and the roll bars on, we can finally move on to the door and the side impact bar, which I've been looking forward to just getting to see that whole perspective with the fully painted side impact bar. So I'm stoked to get it on. For the side impact bar, I was trying to get a little experimental, but it didn't work out. So all that's gonna hold this on is one little ring clip right here, which once I push it up, hopefully I can tighten it up a little bit. Can't really get a screwdriver on it because it's too far up in there behind the dash, unfortunately. Then down below here, I've got this little clamp that I created that I'm just going to twist right in. And that's all that this is going to take to get it in place. To be quite honest with you, I don't know if I trust this bottom clamp. This is a new piece that I'm testing out. And it probably, at the very least, will need to be reprinted with something stronger like ABS plastic or something. But for now, it's at least in there. And I actually might be able to tighten that bolt. It's like grabbing little edges of it, but it's getting something. Didn't even think I'd be able to get that much, actually. With my little bendy extension, I think I can get that. Oh yeah, I got it. That thing is going nowhere. And of course, you can't forget the net quick release, which used to just slide right in place here. Guys, I've been looking forward to seeing that for a couple weeks now. Actually, for a lot longer if you're talking about the painting part, but the whole thing together again, a couple weeks. Now for the door, I'm not 100% sold on this design. I'm not really sure that this is going to be the final door. It probably will be because I don't feel like doing another one when we're going to start a new build in the next 6 months. But as you guys can see, behind the paneling is just an aluminum profile frame with supports through it. And then I printed 9 panels. I wouldn't recommend printing these. Like, honestly, this was a big waste of effort and time. I should have just cut a board, made some holes in it, and mounted a board on here, because that's eventually what it became anyways. I was thinking of all these structural things I was going to do with it, and that's not what I ended up doing. But on the other side, first off, you guys will notice this little thing to fill in the gap between my monitor, because the door, technically, because of the perspective, won't be closed all the way, but it'll appear closed all the way. And this just gives it a little bit of like filler into that gap. On the front side, you guys can see it's all wrapped in suede. I 3D printed a couple little mounts and put a strap in here. Then of course, right here in the middle of the door, we've got the magnetic cover that has a keyboard hidden underneath it. So getting this put on is just a matter of attaching the 2 hinges right here to the 2 hinges back here, which have 3D printed mounts holding onto them. Now, if I'm being honest, the last time I installed this door, it was not the most fun process. And I'm hoping it'll be a little bit better this time, but I'm not really counting on it. On the other hand, I may very well get lucky. That actually popped right in place. And the way this thing's designed, once you get it in place, you just put the bolts through. Then there's a little nut that goes on the bottom. Once that's all in place, you just tighten it up. And I don't know what I was stressing about. That literally just went right on there. I guess, you know, having the experience of doing it once was all I needed. Now I'll take a second to tighten up these bolts, but all right, I have no idea how that alignment became so far off, but it's fixed. And as you guys can see, the door closes. So while I was filming, my microphone died, and I was just about to say, with a little blackout next to the pedals and the wheel back on, that new paint job on the roll cage really pops, and I think it looks a lot better. Now, if I enjoyed creating content from this angle, that actually wouldn't be a bad camera shot, but I like POV and we need to get the passenger side put in. That'll also enable me to be able to get the last of the lights up and running so that it's a little bit brighter in there. So it just occurred to me that before we go install on the passenger side, might as well put the vents on. So back here behind the mid-center control box, I've got this one little slide out vent piece that just pops right into here. So that guy will plug right up in there. And it just comes right around, hooks right into the fan vent here. Now it's a little dark on the other side, so I'm going to go over and do that side, but just know the process is pretty much the same. So now with the fans reconnected, we can get the floorboard reinstalled. I didn't fully disassemble this because there's just too many wires on it, and I did a full video on how it's made. But just a quick explanation for you guys. I printed 10 panels for the top of the floorboard. You guys can see right here that this side's a little bit elevated. I used a 540 by 500 millimeter frame to elevate it. And then under that, the main frame is 1220 by 540, and it's on 400 millimeter legs. Now, for all these different things that I have sitting on here, I've got the drink dispenser, the control modules, some of the power. And for any of this DIY stuff, the main power I use is off of like a control switch right here, so I can quickly turn it off if anything were to catch on fire. I also do keep a fire extinguisher on here. So let's go ahead and get this installed. The main thing I want to start with is giving support to the center console, and that's what these little brackets right here do, is just give them an extra bit of support so it doesn't bounce or move. So we'll get that connected and then we'll worry about the wiring. So I've been surprised a lot on this build, but this should be one of the easier things to get done on here, because all I have to do is connect 2 bolts as long as I can get everything aligned. But of course it's never that easy, right guys? I did kind of drop the center console down just a hair, so I expected to have to make a slight adjustment here. And once I get it in place, I'll try to get in there and tighten that. But let's see if that does any better to line up and sit where we need it to. Definitely off to a good start. All right, so that part's in place. And now I get to enjoy a piece of aluminum profile in my back while I get in here and connect the other piece. Ow! Overall, it's slightly more pleasant than being up under a real car where you'd be on concrete. At least here I got a little carpet, just got to deal with the aluminum profile. I can't get out. That was fun. I haven't had to do the worm since high school. Now let's get the drink dispenser installed. For this part, we're going to start with the bottle holder, which is actually super easy to install because I've already got an aluminum profile T-nut down here. So all I need to do is take my little bolt for my drink holder and twist it in place, which I just did something really stupid and tightened that. I needed to be able to spin. Actually, it would help if I'd kept my screwdriver nearby. Get that. That'll do. All right, so I have the drink dispenser on. It rotates a little bit. I kind of need it to be able to do that so I can push it in once I put the bottle in. And then for the drink dispenser itself, it's just 2 T-nuts that go on the 2020 profile. And there's a little motor in here. And then we've got a power cord and a connector to the Arduino board. So we'll go ahead and get that slid in place. Drop the bottle right there. There we go. We'll get the water line installed later. For now, I'm just going to loop it over this back piece right here. So here it is installed on the rig. It just needs these 2 cables right here to get it up and running. For the power cable, I have it set up so I can just run it down here. I'll probably end up doing some kind of cable management with this at some point. But for now, we're just going to toss it in there. And the reason I'm not doing the cable management yet is because I might be switching drink dispensers. And that'll be a whole nother video and a whole lot of fun if we end up going that route. And then the controller right here, just slide that down underneath. At some point, I'm going to print the last couple pieces right here to lock this in place. Because whether I keep this drink dispenser or not, I will still use that slot. All right, drink dispenser is connected. We'll probably need to reprogram it to the steering wheel, but we're good to go for now. Now, the next thing I need to do is give it juice. So as I mentioned, I've got the control switch that's connected right here to this power plug. And then the surge protector is connected to that. So both of these have to run underneath the sim rig and over to the power so that I have that control, which I'm now realizing means the second trip down under. And I don't remember having to do this so much. Turns out there'll be a third trip too, because I can't lock all this in place until I know where that's gonna be. All right, so we've got power now. So we can go ahead and float that up to the ambient light system so that we get all of our power back and not just some of it. Should get a little brighter inside the cockpit now. There we go. Forgot to switch the COM port over. Now for the fan switches, assuming that my alignment's still good, these should drop right in place here. We shouldn't be higher up than we were before. There we go. Oh, but that's too high. Let's see if that'll grab. Literally just 1 bolt to get this on. Feels like I got it. I did not get it. I didn't get it. I'm losing it. Just free spinning there, and that sucks because that might not be easy to get back out. Oh wait, we might have it now. I might have just solved my alignment issue too. There we go. Switches are back in place, which means the other quick release side can go in. Probably easier without that though. Nets are up. Fan controller's up. Now we just need to add power to the fans. Now to do that, you guys can see I've got these 2 control boxes right here. Each one's got a connector for a Noctua fan on it. These connect to the splitter for the Noctua fans on each side. And that'll give me 4 functioning 120 millimeter fans. Then of course we've got 1 USB cable to connect for the control module. And while I'm at it, I'll go ahead and throw a little wire loom on the USB cable, because we will not have any wires showing on this rig. Also, for one of these control modules, and I haven't done this for the other one yet, I did give it a magnetic connect spot right here. So it just kind of drops in place. That way I can take it off if I need to. And it's always accessible as well. There's the other Noctua fan. There's the connector for the other fan. Get around to that in just a moment. First, we'll get this one connected. Now I just need to go over and connect the other side and everything will be hooked back up. And now the last step for rebuilding the passenger side is to close it back up. Alright, so I just finished configuring everything in the TWE SimTech controller. And when I hit this button, you guys will see my ECU and SimTech controller come on. And then if I hit the ignition, you can see my animated lights for the ignition coming on. And with the starter, if I push the start button, you'll see my little sequence for that. And now we're back to white. And then I also have the fan configured, so you can see when I turn it on that we get airflow, which means there's only 2 things left to do. Now it's time to go POV and check it out. Alright, so the changes that I made to the rig weren't that significant. I mean, I really just painted some roll bars, cleaned up some wires, but at the same time, I feel like since you guys sat through this entire video, you should at least get to experience the rig real quick. Most of you already have, but of course I came to Nürburgring. Now, if you're interested in any of the 3D print files for this rig, I just want to remind you, they're available to all TWE Premium members here on YouTube. Once you sign up for the membership, you get access to literally everything on the rig, so you could basically print your own Cup Car 2.0. Also, if you guys haven't done it, make sure you go check out the sponsors that have helped make this possible. The links to them is in the description. Without them, this would have taken a little bit longer, and it's already taken a year. And I have something absolutely insane planned for the next build, and I'm going to need a little bit of support from them. Now, only if you guys actually need sim racing gear am I saying to go check them out. I don't condone going and buying sim racing gear just for the sake of. But if you guys actually need it and they have something you guys can use and it's reasonably priced, it helps support the channel. Now, as for this rig, it feels really good. Like I said, it's not a huge change from what it was before, but I am stoked to have my Ace Tech gear back on the rig, especially the pedals. I absolutely love the Invicta pedals that are on here. Like, the precision of them is just amazing, and I haven't had an opportunity to do an actual review, but I will get around to doing that at some point. As far as rig build goes, it's not quite done, but it's so close to being done that it's just little details like finishing up the center console button box and maybe a few other little minor things that I want to get buttoned up. But most of it you wouldn't actually notice once I'm done. Like, this is pretty much visually the Cup Car 2.0 rig at this point, and I am pretty stoked about it. If you guys haven't already hit that subscribe button, make sure you do that and ring the bell so you get updates on anything left that I finish up on the rig, future race videos, stuff like that. And until next time, I will see you guys out on the track.